Justin, what's up, my man? Another day, another dollar.
Hey Saul, so I started watching Seinfeld for the first time ever, and I mean I've seen a few episodes and I've understood it,
Hmm.
to appreciate it. But man, the more I watch it, the more I can relate to George Costanza. The more I watch Seinfeld, the more I'm like, you know what? I'm actually George Costanza in real life. I'm
Really?
I'm a little bit cheap. I'm very tight with
You are kind of cheap.
yeah,
You
I'm
are
tight
kind of
with
cheap.
money.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
are. Yeah.
I'm not like
I don't think Justin is front of the bill for anything in his life, to be honest with you.
no, every time I go out with Saul and the check comes our way, I get alligator arms. I'm like,
To be fair, I usually cover the bill just because I know you're a young up and coming. Well, at the time you were a young up and coming student, and I was like, man, I can't take food out your mouth, buddy.
I got you. I got you. Now that I'm back on
but
radio.
but now the tables, the turntables.
Oh, how the turntables. I'm
All right,
excited, Saul.
another episode of Total BS podcast coming right now.
Yo, your fans just might turn into our fans. Be cool, it's just a part of this program. Spit your best 16 if you must. You not whack, you just sound whack rapping after us. For real.
Saul, the episode of Seinfeld that I was referring to, where I was like, George Costanza and I are the same person, is when him and Jerry went to this department store. They saw a cashmere sweater that was initially $600, but it was marked down to $85, all because it had a little tiny red dot on the sleeve. And that was like the whole episode was just pointing out that red dot. But he bought it for somebody that he cared about because it's a $600 sweater, only $85 because it has a red dot. That is something I'll do. It's like, don't just ignore the red dot. Here you go. Enjoy cashmere sweater.
For sure. I think we've all bought something in our lives that where we thought, maybe it was out of our price range at first, but then due to circumstances, it's in our price range and it might have a little flaw in it. But you're like, dude, it's still like X brand. Like you got to go with it, right? So
For sure.
hey, man. Hey, a deal's a deal, man. I don't care who the hell. This discussion kind of got brought up the other day. We actually went to a Suns game the other day and got to see Jay Crowder in person. And the people that we were with, one of them, a young lady, was like, "I kind of like Jay Crowder." I was like, "Oh yeah." I was like, he's actually a good dresser. And I showed her a picture, and really this picture was ridiculous because it looked like he was in like pajama pants with like some type of like rope around his waist tied. And I was like, there's no way in the world you could ever pull that off. But what's so funny is I told Estella, I said, if I ever hit the lottery, I'm dressing like an asshole. I promise you I will. And I will only dress like an a-hole because I can afford to. So like, yeah, these pajama bottoms, sure. Yeah, you can make fun of them all you want, but they're worth more than your car.
The craziest one ever in basketball and football. Basketball, you have to go with Russell Westbrook because he's pulling up with like a $2,000 parking attendant vest, just showing up to basketball games looking like that. And then Cam Newton is he takes the cake in football.
Oh man, I like Cam style though. I dig it. I don't care.
But it's like cut off shorts, pants, like they're dress pants, but they only go to his knees.
Yeah, there was one time where he literally wore like remember how old ladies back in the day they used to wear like the hair cover like handkerchief thing and they tie it around their chin.
Yeah,
like he tried to pull that off one time. I was like, Cam, no, not that, not this one, buddy. Like you got call it curtains on that one. But anyway, today we were supposed to have George.
Not George
Henry,
Costanza.
I'm sorry.
Not George Costanza.
Harry Stetina.
Yes.
Come over and give a few golf lessons and whatnot. But unfortunately, due to a time conflict at the last minute, he was unable to show up. So maybe we can get him on another day. So we won't even go into the golf thing because, well, let's be honest, neither you or I are golf professionals in any stretch of the imagination. Certainly not at the point where I can give advice to anybody. And what's so funny is about the game of golf, right? I can count probably about 10 times in my life where I've been on the golf range and I'm swinging and some guy wants to come over and be like, oh, you should do this, or you should do this, or you should do this. And at the time, because I was so young, I just thought, Okay, cool. Thanks for the advice. I appreciate it. But as I've gone about my life, in my golf game, because I take golf pretty seriously, and you know this, Justin.
Yeah, I definitely know.
I don't like to waste my money. You talk about being cheap, but I don't like to waste my money. Period. Like, so, if I'm paying $80
golfing's
to go
an expensive
golf,
sport.
if I'm paying 80 bones to go golf, like, I'm not getting drunk on the golf course. I'm just not that dude.
Thank you.
I'm just not that dude. Like, that's such a waste of money. Why do that? You might as well just go to the bar and get drunk if you just want to get drunk. Yeah. I'm not trying to go out there and sweat for 4 hours in this Arizona sun at 100 and plus degree temperatures to get drunk and waste $80 just because I want to do it on a golf course. It's stupid. Yeah. Anyway, going back to
I went golfing recently with a guy who played college golf. Mm-hmm. If you ever played at that level and you're capable of drinking and playing the game of golf,
sure,
then that's okay. As long as you don't get silly and loud and just completely obnoxious, because then I don't want to play with you. When we go out and play golf, I want it to be fun. Like and that's why I appreciate you, is because you take it seriously, but you're not an asshole about everything.
No.
Like
I'm serious about my game, right?
Yeah. But every now and then, like if I take my sweet ass time, you might go, "Come on, sunshine,
bro." Like, listen, your 5,000 practice swings ain't gonna get any better on this next tee shot. I can promise you that. You look, aim, figure out where you want to go, come up, maybe take a loosen up shot, and figure out what kind of strength you want to put into your shot, and then you go. You don't have to sit there and take 85,000 swings to find that right tempo, because I can guarantee you by the time you step up to that ball, it ain't going to be the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, that's where the practice comes in, right? So if you don't put in the work and all of a sudden you're going to go on the golf course and think you're going to be Tiger Woods, you got another thing coming. It just ain't going to happen. But but going back to my original point, giving golf tips to people is just not something I want to do. The only thing that I will do, and I've done this to you, I will stand behind you when you're about to hit your shot. And then I will take my golf club and like, bruh, like, you already play a slice. Why are you aimed to the right side of the fairway? And then you usually, like one time where I did that with you and I put my golf club down and you could see where you're lined up. You're like, oh shit, I had no idea. So you're you're already screwed before you even take the shot. Right. Yeah. So like those types of things, like, okay, aim somewhere different because you're playing this hook or whatever, or the slice. That's what I'll say, but I won't tell you, hey, you should do this in your swing. You should do this. That's for the driving range. That's for the practice range. That's not for on the golf course. So do me a favor. If you're out there on the golf course, shut the fuck up.
Hey, Saul, I actually talked about this with my brother not long ago. What is your dream golf group? 4 guys, yourself included. So you have 3 people to choose. Dead or alive?
Ooh.
Who are you picking to go golfing with?
Okay. So there's 3 guys I would want to go play with. Okay. Tiger, number 1. Just because Tiger's the one dude. Like, let's be real. Like, really any PGA Tour guy. But Tiger, if we're on the golf course, okay, Tiger, you can tell me what, like, hey, I would do this in my backswing. You got it, Tiger. I got you. I'm not gonna dispute that. Kevin Hart, because I think we would just be laughing our asses off the entire time, right? And Charles Barkley, because Charles Barkley is similar to a skill set that a lot of us have. He's had the yips, like it's been well documented, but he loves the game. You know what I mean? Charles Barkley loves the game. He just wants to go out there and play. I think I would have a lot of fun with Charles and Kevin and Tiger. So, yeah, that would be my foursome.
I think you picking Charles Barkley and Kevin Hart, I can see the plan. I could see your thought process, because you have Tiger Woods, because you have the greatest of all time out there to give you pretty much a free lesson. Like, you're playing 18 holes with the greatest golfer of all time. Yep. I'm absorbing everything that he's saying. And Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be riding in the same cart with him, or I'm going to be making sure that I'm sticking close by him at all times.
Yeah.
You pick Kevin Hart. Is Kevin Hart really good at golf?
I don't know, and I don't care.
So, I say you just picked him for the entertainment value.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I think you got him because you want to stroke your ego, because you're just like, I want to beat a celebrity in a game of golf, and I'm going to beat Kevin Hart.
No,
because you're pretty good at golf, Saul, and I know you can beat Kevin Hart, and I know you can beat Charles Barkley.
No, I want Kevin Hart because I think, you need a little comedy relief, right? You need a little comic relief when you're out there, especially for 4 hours. And you know what I mean? Like, and I like your point that Tiger Woods would be in the golf cart. Yes, he would be in my golf cart because Kevin Hart is great. But if to me, like if you're having too good of a time or like laughing too much and too hysterical, you can't really focus on what you're doing so much.
For sure.
So to have those breaks in between shots from Kevin Hart, I think that's much needed. And that's why, riding with Tiger would be good. So,
okay.
What about you?
My group, the three guys that I would take, Tiger Woods, obviously, for all the reasons that I just explained. And I'm surprised you didn't pick this, Saul, but Michael Jordan.
See, with Mike, that's a different story, bud.
Is it because are you worried about he might make, a couple bets with you? He might make it a little too competitive to the point where it's uncomfortable.
So with Mike, he's a good golfer. Like, let's be real. Like, he's a good golfer. However, I want to beat the hell out of him. Like, absolutely. Like, trust me, like I've never met Michael Jordan in my life. And I've always said that if I ever met Michael Jordan, I'd probably cry because he was my idol growing up, right? He was just that dude. He's Black Jesus. He's basketball Jesus, man. He just is. And I look forward to the day where that can actually happen. But he's a competitive guy. And I want my moment where I'm like, we were on the 14th hole and, I was down by one shot. And then Michael said, good luck on this. And I took that personally. Everything will be personal with Mike. I promise you that.
Okay. But man, I think with just from watching Last Dance and to see his obsession with golf, like he was trying to get Scottie Pippen out of the arena. He was like fending off all the media so they can get on the bus and go back to the team hotel or whatever they were staying at so he can go play a round of golf. Like the man is dedicated to the sport of golf.
Oh, yeah.
And I think with Mike now, the older he gets, he's just so funny to talk to. I mean, you saw that with the Last Dance interviews. So I still like the competitive edge that he brings, but I think it'd be entertaining to talk to Michael Jordan. So I would have Michael Jordan there. And then for the last person,
that's only one.
Oh, Michael Jordan and Tiger Woods.
Okay. Oh, so you would still have Tiger as well.
Yeah. So So the last person I would take, and this is a difficult one because I consider Bill Murray. I'm like, we get Michael Jordan and Bill Murray, the Space Jam guys playing some
Chicago
golf.
Guys, yeah.
But you know what? I'm gonna go with Schoolboy Q. The rapper from LA. He's from TDE, part of Kendrick Lamar's label. And Schoolboy Q, if you go to his Instagram page, he is golfing every week and he just loves the sport and he's actually really good. So for like the entertainment value with Kevin Hart, I mean, we can get a rapper who's also funny. Like you go to his Instagram page, he's all about family, he's all about fun, golf, and he's just so funny. So Schoolboy Q, Michael Jordan, and Tiger Woods. That's my golf group.
Interesting. There's another guy out there that's low key. I would consider throwing in the foursome, maybe replacing Kevin Hart to a degree, and that's my guy Roger Steele. I don't know if you've ever seen him on Instagram, but Roger Steele, in the last year, he is like come out of nowhere seemingly, and he does a lot of golf videos. He's a brother and he likes to play golf, and he will talk a lot of trash. He talks a lot of trash.
Is he the guy that does the video where it's like, it doesn't matter, you will always suck?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, so he seems like the type of dude that I would want to play golf with because I just know that would be competitive. I know that would be competitive, and he talk a lot of trash. But that's one of the things about playing in private as opposed to watching the PGA Tour. Like the PGA Tour guys don't talk trash to each other. They don't do that. It's just they're focused on their own stuff. But if you get on the golf course with the right group of people, there is trash talk. Like there is trash talk, and you better be ready to go. So I think Roger Steele would be fun. That would be fun. Like, if I tagged him in this video, I guarantee the first thing he would say is, "You ain't ready for this." And to which I would reply,
Bring
you
it.
don't want to see me on 18. So there you go. Anyway, basketball Hall of Fame inductions, man. That was, two distinguished careers in KG and Tim, but obviously Kobe is kind of the dominant one this weekend. What are your overall thoughts on in this entire weekend, Justin?
It's incredible. And, there were some other people that were inducted into the Hall of Fame, but I think this class is obviously headlined by the three guys that you just mentioned, Kobe, Tim Duncan, and Kevin Garnett. And, all three had unique careers. Tim Duncan went to Wake Forest, did the college thing, came out. And then do you consider the 1999 championship a fluky championship? Because that was the year of the lockout, right?
Yeah, they only played 48 games, I believe.
So,
it was a little fluky. It was on the heels of Jordan winning his last title as well. And then they played the Knicks. It was, there was a little wonkiness about that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but then you still have to honor it, and you look at all the other championships that he won past that, and he was arguably the best power forward in the NBA. He won 2 MVPs, and he was the best player on every single Spurs team that won a championship. You can make an argument that 2014 maybe Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
But Kawhi was still just a young player getting his feet wet, and he had the tallest task guarding LeBron James on a nightly basis. So, but still, Tim Duncan is the greatest power forward of all time. And to me, I don't think there's no debate just because of the rings factor. Karl Malone never won a ring. If Karl Malone won multiple championships, I think he would be the greatest power forward of all time. But that title belongs to Tim Duncan.
But that's not necessarily. I don't know. I think if you separate Stockton and Malone, I don't think you can make the same argument for Karl Malone. I don't. I think if you took Tim Duncan and you put him on any team, he would be the greatest power forward of all time.
Absolutely. But then Kevin Garnett is. And this better than me, Saul. I mean, Kevin Garnett was probably the most hyped high school basketball player besides LeBron James in 2003. I mean, because everyone was oohing and aahing over this 6'11" forward who could just do absolutely everything coming out of high school.
But the problem is that there was a lot of dudes that were coming straight from high school. That's why they changed the rule, is because there was too many guys that thought that they could play in the league today. And I mean, you see that right now with all these freshmen that are one and dones, and half of them don't even make the league.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that was kind of the problem back then, and when Kevin Garnett was coming out, you had guys like Jermaine O'Neal. You had guys like, I'm trying to think of other guys. I think Eddie Curry was one of them. Just a handful of dudes that really thought that their game was on another level, and they weren't anything. They weren't anything. A lot of guys you never heard of. If I brought up a name, you'd be like, oh man, yeah, I forgot about those guys. Mm-hmm. It's a long list. So Kevin Garnett coming out, there was a lot of hype, but there was a lot of hype about all these dudes. Lamar Odom, same thing. He ended up having to go to Rhode Island for whatever reason, but he was expected to come out and go straight into high school, or straight from high school to the pros. So, so I don't necessarily agree that it was a no doubter like LeBron. But
that's what I'm saying. Outside of LeBron, I can't recall a time where a high schooler was just so hyped up to be the next phenom in the NBA. Even when Kobe was coming out of high school, not many people knew about him, and he was drafted 13th overall to the Charlotte Hornets. And people
17th overall.
Was it? I thought it was 13th.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But Kevin Garnett was this big that everyone just wanted on their team. And I think it's safe to say that he's lived up to the expectations. All those years that he was in Minnesota, he was right there with Tim Duncan as the best power forward in basketball. And it's just unfortunate that Minnesota just didn't have enough firepower to compete in the Western Conference with the Lakers and the Spurs.
Here's the long list. You ready for this? This is the list of players who tried to go straight from high school to the NBA. And every single one of these dudes was hyped up to no end. Ready? Starting from the most recent we'll go to the Kevin Garnett era. Amir Johnson, Andre Blatch, Louis Williams, Monte Ellis was okay. Ricky Sanchez, CJ Miles was okay. Gerald Green was okay. Andrew Bynum was okay. Martell Webster, Darrell Wright, meh. J.R. Smith, meh. Josh Smith, meh. Al Jefferson, Sebastian Telfair, Robert Swift, Sean Livingston, Dwight Howard, James Lang, Kendrick Perkins, and Duty Eby, who was actually a U of A commit.
That's right.
Travis Outlaw, LeBron James, Amari Stoudemire, Ousmane Cisse, Dezana Diop, Eddie Curry, Tyson Chandler, Kwame Brown, Deshaun Stevenson, Darius Miles, Leon Smith, Jonathan Bender, who was 5th overall, Corleone Young, Rashad Lewis, Al Harrington, Tracy McGrady, Jermaine O'Neal, Kobe Bryant, Kevin Garnett, Bill Willoughby, and Daryl Dawkins. That is the entire list of players that went straight from high school to the NBA. And most of them, I will say this, for most of them, they had decent careers. You know, they stuck around the league for about maybe 3 to 10 years, right?
For sure.
They found a role and they figured it out. But for about a quarter of those dudes, they had no business ever going to the league. And it's the problem with today's game is that there's too many people in these kids' ears, and with social media hyping these kids up. You see it with U of A recruits all the time, right? The message boards, they act like these kids are like the greatest thing since sliced bread for every commit. And I'm like, no, they're not. Like, no. Like, you have to show that you have a work ethic. You have to show that you have an innate ability to take your game from where it is in high school to another level. And a lot of these kids don't understand that. And so they come in and they think they're working hard, but they ain't doing shit. Yeah. And that's why a lot of them don't pan out. A lot of them will come in and, for instance, we remember, and I like Brandon Williams. I do. But he got salty with me because I said that he wasn't a game changer like DeAndre Ayton. And I was like, DeAndre Ayton is 7'1" and the number 1 overall pick in the NBA draft, dude. Like, if you're getting salty about being compared to DeAndre Ayton and you're not on the same level, you need to look in the mirror, dog. Yeah. And he literally changed his Twitter bio to not a game changer for like 3 months because he was so salty about that.
All because of you?
All because of me. Like, so stupid. Like, dude, this is why right there. That is why you're not playing in the NBA. And I understand he had injuries and stuff like that for sure. And I wish him the best. I do. Just like all the players, hey, if you're going for your dream, you're going for your dream. And I'm not going to hate on that. But you also can't fault anybody for saying, well, these are his weaknesses. This is what he's not good at. And this is what he's going to have to improve in order to play in the league. Those are facts. Those aren't things
for sure.
Like Alonzo Trier got salty with me because I said he looked slow at the end of the season and he wasn't able to produce at the high enough level as he was earlier in the year, which are all facts. And that's why he disappeared down the stretch in the Pac-12 tournament. And also the first round against Buffalo, he looked like he should be playing for Buffalo, and the Buffalo players looked like they should be playing for U of A. That's how significant the difference was in athletic ability from one point to another. And it was just remarkable for me to see that. And these guys, they get salty about that. And I'm like, well, that's the reason why maybe you're not making it, is because you can't take criticism and improve your game the way you need it to be.
And also take your craft seriously.
Yes.
I mean, you have to understand that this is your job, this is your livelihood, and if you don't live up to the expectations and you're not producing, well, then your business is going to fire you. They're going to find somebody else that can come in, put in the work, and actually give more production than you're giving. So you went over this long list of names that all went from high school to NBA, and it's like, ooh, Kevin Garnett, Kobe Bryant, those guys are dogs, competitive guys, and they worked their asses off. And then you have guys like Kwame Brown. Kwame Brown was just this big athletic player that had a lot of potential. And that's what the NBA draft is all about. A lot of teams pick players because of the potential that they show. Yeah. And then sometimes that potential just isn't there.
Yeah.
And
Darko Milicic.
Darko Milicic, perfect example. Sometimes when they are that good at that level, like that is their ceiling. Yeah. And if they don't have the work ethic and they don't show that during this process, then why the hell are you drafting them? And that's why Kwame Brown fizzled out of the NBA. And I think about Andrew Bynum. Sure, Andrew Bynum was considered to be one of the top big men in basketball there for a little bit. Like when Shaq kind of got out of his prime and Andrew Bynum and the Lakers were really good, I mean, you looked at Dwight Howard was the best center, and then you probably put Andrew Bynum as the second best center. But the work ethic. Andrew Bynum had a ACL injury, and I think about a week later, while he was out injured, he was at the Playboy Mansion, and they were taking photos of playmates sitting on the injured knee. And this is during the season. This is all happening while the Lakers are playing. And it's like, dude, come on, man. Like that is just absolutely not a good look. And that's why a lot of these guys, they just don't stay in the NBA because of the work ethic and just not taking this seriously. And I think that's why we look at Kobe Bryant as just someone who's just cut from a different cloth.
Yeah.
He's cut from has the same DNA as a guy like Michael Jordan. I remember hearing Barnes about his Smoke podcast. It was rare for Kobe Bryant to go hang out with the guys after a game, to go to clubs or wherever they were. And then finally, Kobe Bryant was like, all right, I'm in. Let's go hang out. But you know what? Your asses better be up at 5 a.m. for our workout the next morning. Yeah, we can go over here and have fun, but this is our work, and this comes first. So, yeah, we can go out and have a good time, but 5 a.m. when I'm knocking on your door, you better open that damn thing because we're rolling the next morning. And that's just how Kobe Bryant was, man. And I just think about the career that Kobe had from, when he was first drafted. And again, I was super young at that time, didn't really have any memory of the first part of Kobe's career. But, he was coming off the bench, and he was just this brash young guy who was just almost like a caged animal just on the bench, just waiting to be released. And then when they finally unleashed him, that duo with him and Shaquille O'Neal just dominated the NBA for several years. And then Kobe Bryant, the evolution of his career, going from a guy who was going to come at you at the rim and then becoming the shooter and the more finesse player. And as he got older, his game just evolved, and that's why he was able to sustain that elite level of play for so many years. And that's why – go ahead.
But for Kobe, it was – first of all, like, it cannot be said enough. Kobe was probably not only the smartest basketball player of all time, but just one of the most highly intelligent individuals of all time, period. And he just happened to be a basketball player. Like, my man could speak 3 different languages. Like, he was well-versed in a lot of different, aspects of life. That's why I think his death hit people so hard, because you got Kobe on the court, and you got to see the greatness on the court, but you just felt like there was more after, you know what I mean? And so that's what hurts so much. But also, we also, when we're talking about the basketball, we also can't forget there was a lot of different aspects to make, there's a lot of different aspects that make each player great. Like it's well documented. Michael Jordan got cut from his high school varsity team. He had to play JV his sophomore, junior year, right? And he was devastated by that. But he put in the work, and he came back, and he also had a growth spurt, and all of a sudden he's a McDonald's All-American. Like, everybody's like, where the hell did this kid come from? You know what I mean? Like, that drive to want to prove everybody wrong is a real thing. Kobe, he grew up, his dad was a professional basketball player. But on top of that, we can't forget that first season with the Lakers, they make it to the playoffs, and they're playing the Utah Jazz, and Kobe, being Bryant, gets the ball in a clutch situation multiple times, and I think he airballed 2 of those shots. And it was really embarrassing. The Lakers go on to lose that series. The Jazz move on. And I think that right there was like Kobe saying, yeah, that shit ain't ever going to happen again. Yeah. Like, it just isn't going to happen. And Kobe took it upon himself to really become one of the greatest of all time in a short period of time. And that's what I think makes Kobe so different from a lot of these dudes. Like, a lot of these guys talk about a great work ethic, and they think, they'll go play pickup ball or put in some work in the gym or whatever. But, they were talking about Kobe. I think it was Dwayne Wade told a story about at the Olympics. They were all playing, and they did a workout, right? And so after they're done, they all go get iced. They all get, some medicine or whatever. They stayed up really late. Everybody slept like 3 hours. And then they come back to the gym like 8 o'clock in the morning. And as soon as they walk in the gym, Kobe's already on the table getting iced. And they're like, Kobe, what you doing? He was like, oh, I just got to work out in. And they're like, dude, it's 8:00 in the morning and we only slept for like 3 hours. My man like couldn't wait to get back. And like they said that Kobe would work out 2-3 times a day.
Wow.
So if you think you're putting in work,
yeah,
no, it's nothing. It's nothing compared to what Kobe was doing.
Or what was that story that Jay Williams said when he was with the Bulls? And he was like, I'm really excited. We're playing the Lakers. We're playing against Kobe Bryant. And I hear about this work ethic. I'm going to get to the gym early. And he goes into the gym. Kobe's already there putting up shots. And Jay Williams shoots around for like an hour and a half. Kobe still goes for like an extra 2 hours. And then Jay Williams like, dude, what the hell? Like, why'd you stay longer? Like, are you insane? And he was like, no, I saw you walk in. And I want to let you know that no matter how hard you try, you're never going to outwork me. And I'm always going to be better. Like that right there is just insane. And you know, Saul, like you said, the career after basketball was really what made Kobe's death just so awful because he was an unbelievable father. He won an Oscar, won an Emmy, and was really campaigning for women's sports and women's basketball. And everyone just loved Kobe and what he meant to the sport and what he meant for and women and young athletes. So it's just an unfortunate loss even if you don't play sports, you saw Kobe's work ethic and you tried to emulate it with whatever you did in life. You had that mindset, and whatever you did, you were going to be the best at. And if you weren't the best, you were always going to work the hardest. And I owe a lot to Kobe Bryant. He's my favorite athlete of all time. And I'm just so thankful that his oldest daughter, Natalia, gets to wear the Hall of Fame jacket, and that Vanessa Bryant gets to accept the Hall of Fame award on his behalf, which will be presented by the greatest of all time, Kobe's older brother, Michael Jordan. Yeah. So the Hall of Fame class is just star-studded, but Kobe Bryant just unlike any other. For sure. And with that, we'll go ahead and segue. We were going to talk about some J. Cole and his new album and basketball career, going to Africa and playing, but we'll just go ahead and skip on that. We got some better business ahead. So we'll go ahead and do everybody's favorite segment, Dad Jokes, baby. Dad Jokes. Here we go. Yes,
all right,
sir.
Justin, go ahead, lead it off this week.
All right, Saul. I got some news to share. I actually used to be addicted to soap, but I'm clean now. All right. Estella is we've been talking about getting in shape a lot, and a little hefty. Need to trim some pounds, and as you and I have talked about several times, and she was like, one way you could do is you just do a lot of lunges. And I said, wow, that's a big step forward. Oh my God. Okay. I think you might win 2 weeks in a row, Saul, just with that one. All right. Did you know corduroy pillows are in style? They're making headlines.
Oh man. How do you follow Will Smith in the snow?
How?
You just follow the Fresh Prince.
Oh my God. Okay.
Last one, buddy.
All right, last one. What do you call when Batman skips church?
Oh.
Christian Bale.
Oh my gosh. What do you call a factory that makes okay products?
What?
A satisfactory.
Oh my God.
And that's Dad Jokes for this week.
You win.
You got another one or no? You good?
No, I'm good. I'm tapping out.
All right. That's Dad Jokes for this week. And that's another episode of the Total BS Podcast. We appreciate you all joining us. Justin, tell them where they can find us.
YouTube, Facebook, Twitch. That's where the live stream is. But we are also on Apple, Spotify, Google, wherever you listen to podcasts. Total BS is everywhere. Subscribe, rate, review, share with all your friends. There you go. Next week we'll see if we got another guest, and hopefully this year's been a little rough with guests, and I do apologize for that, but we'll get it going. Also, if you're listening to this episode
You can go back and listen to the last 2 episodes. We had a little bit of some technical difficulties, but we will post the last 2 episodes as well, so you can listen to all 3. You can catch up on the last 3 weeks of Total BS podcast all in 1 week if you'd like. So you please subscribe and leave a review, 5 stars. We'd always appreciate it. Until next time, folks, we'll see you when we see you. Peace.
Yo, your fans just might turn into our fans. Be cool, it's just a part of this program. Spit your best 16 if you must. You not whack, you just sound whack.